Hello guys and welcome to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Hlulani Baloyi. I just want to welcome you here. It has been a while. It feels very foreign for me to even say things like welcome to my channel. It's really have been like a long time ago, and I'm not gonna try and explain myself. Life happens. I think we all know this, but here I am here, and I come bearing gifts. I come to give you some nuggets. The auntie that you've been missing is now here to give all the knowledge and give all the kind of like advice that you've needed for the longest time. It's hard to not have your auntie in place, so I'm here to play that role, the rich auntie. Okay guys, so in today's video I'm gonna talk about planning to move abroad, and planning to move abroad in an efficient way, in a way that makes sense for you, and in a way that you will not look back and find it very stressful. I have prepared some points that I would like to share. So for those of you who are just like coming into this video and you don't know me and you don't know who I am and what I do, just a quick intro of myself. I am Hlulani Baloyi from South Africa, but I currently live in Austria. So I have moved up abroad, and beyond just living in Austria, I have lived in Mexico at some point. I've lived in Kuwait at some point. I mean, I think there were different dynamics, but at the end of the day I was living outside of my country. So best believe I have some information on how to do it right and how to do it in a most efficient way. I have some learnings, some things that I look back and I'm like, I could have actually done that really well if I did this. So this video is really about that. I just want to make sure that if you are considering moving, you will do it the right way, you will have the right tools. So 12 points I have. I'm gonna break them down, so this video is gonna be like series or sequels, if you may, and it's really just to make sure that you are ready to move abroad when you have to. So the first point I have, right, may sound obvious. It may sound like like clear, or maybe something that is really obvious, but trust me, it's not. And I've learned that it's actually not for a lot of people, so stick with me. And the first point is determine your motivation. Figure out why you are planning to move abroad. There's multiple reasons why people actually decide to want to pack their bags to move to another country. Are you moving abroad because you're going to study? Are you moving abroad because you are going to work, or you are taking a sabbatical leave and you are going to spend 2 years in another country, or 1 year, or a couple of months? Like, having a clear vision why you want to move abroad will then define the place that you would want to move to. For example, if you are planning on just like being maybe on a sabbatical and would like to have a soft, easy, slow life, maybe like island living might be for you. If you can tell, that is my dream life. So yeah, like if you know for sure that this is what I am wanting to move abroad for, then it will determine the place for you, because the next thing that you would have to do is finding a country that you want to go to. So, but if you know exactly why this is the reason why I'm moving abroad, then you will know to actually answer the questions around why you would want to move, and why like you would be able to answer the questions around, so where do I go in the first place? So I think for me, I have told my story in this channel, and if you have not heard it, I will attach a video where I told about my move. It was a very short video, but generally my move was a little different because someone reached out, a recruiter reached out, shout out to Chris, and when he did, it was really like, hey, listen, I have found your contact. I was given your contacts by somebody, a mutual friend, or rather like someone that I grew grew up with in the village, who knew me and knew what I do. And then he was like, hey, I found your contacts, would like to actually be in a position to talk to you and run through some career moves that you might want to consider. And when he did that, I was actually like living in Mexico at the time, so it was really like just one of those things where I at first didn't take it serious, but in the end it actually like happened and I found myself in Austria. So don't do that, because it did not backfire for me, because I think I'm pretty much like very spontaneous as a human being, but not everyone is as spontaneous as me. And also like you want to be in a position where you consider other things. I did not sit down to consider a lot of things. I did not know much about Austria in general. I got lucky because it is a beautiful country. Life is easy. There are things that I do not like about the country, but that's not the point. The point is I got lucky. I do like quite a bit of stuff about Austria. So in that sense, I got lucky. But this is not the reality for a lot of people. It is not a reality for a lot of places where you could find yourself in. You don't want to find yourself in a place where there is natural disasters, for example, or there is just political unrest and it keeps going, or just a whole lot of things. So you wanna consider all those things before you move. So knowing exactly why you want to move into a place, or why you want to pack your bags into a new country, would actually save you time and energy before you can pack your bags and move to another country. So yeah, I think that is it for the first one. And the next thing you want to do is research your destination. So you have now determined your motivation for moving, and you have decided that Canada is a place where you would want to go. The next thing you want to do is research your destination to find out what it is about, and gathering information about that place, making sure that you include the culture, you include the language, you include everything that you need to know to actually run your daily life. Because like moving into a new country, trust me, it's really daunting. First of all, you want to find out if you're gonna have to learn a new language. It was the case for me, and because I didn't really know much about Austria, I knew that obviously they speak German, and also I was safe from a working point of view because the company I was gonna move to speaks English, so medium of communication is English, and that kind of helped me and saved me a lot. But this is not the case for many companies, and as soon as you get into a job market, or you are trying to figure out your way around, or you are into a school and that school that you are enrolling to has some sort of like course that you want to study, you want to know whether or not they actually communicate in English, or if you have to beforehand learn the language, which is possible. I have not learned much of German. I am taking classes. It has not been easy, but like we are getting there. It's a journey. So you want to research that destination and find out what about health insurance. What is it that how do they handle health insurance? I know in South Africa we use like medical aid. I don't know about other parts of like Africa, how they handle like health insurance and stuff like that. Austria operates differently, so like there's a certain amount of money that gets deducted. Ooh, English. There's a certain amount that gets deducted off of your salary that actually goes to social insurance. So like health insurance is covered there, and everybody has the same kind of access. So the same amount goes off of everybody's salary. So it's like the same, which is not the same for other countries. It's not the same for South Africa. It's not the same when you go to the US. It's not the same when you go to some parts of Africa, Asia, and everywhere. So you want to be in a position where you are set with that, and you know exactly how health insurance look like for the country that you are going to. Check things about legal and also like conduct in a way, and how you would actually, if there's any restriction of movement or restriction of how you would actually have to live your daily life. For example, the Middle East. When I lived in the Middle East, when I went to work, the kind of company that I was working at, I had to dress a certain way, and that was like a mandatory thing. I had to cover up like fully except for my hair. I did not have to show my skin. That was not something that I would do in that place. And also like just generally, an example is that you would never be in a position where you are found as like what's the word, opposite sex in the same room. I know there's loopholes in those things, but like by law, that is something that you want to be in a position where you avoid and not do. If you had a partner and you're not married and you were working there and you'd have to have them visit, that was not going to be possible. This is the place that I was living in, and the hotel would never be in a position where they let my partner live in the same room as me while they know that we are not married. Just as an example. So you want to read all those kind of stuff and know when and like how to avoid actually being shocked and hating on other people's cultures, because at the end of the day, it's their culture. It works for them. We cannot judge anything. I think we have our own stuff that at the end of the day, it does not work for other people. So choose what works for you, and choosing what works for you will come when you know exactly from the research what is it that you found as a rule of thumb, or you found as the facts for the country that you're going to. So you want to be very, very, very thorough in researching. Research the country. Research. The key pointers for me when you're researching: you want to research about culture, you want to research about the climate. Is it hot or is it cold? Did I not find the shocker of my life with the weather here? I don't like that the winters are long. And I did not know that before I came. So it came in as a culture shock for me. So you want to avoid all those things. Research the climate. Research the job market. The cost of living. I'm going to do a video about the cost of living in Austria in general. But like, it's different. It's not the same as it is in my own country. So you want to research all those things and make sure that you know beforehand. Another key pointer for me is health system, legal requirement, and also like just the things about work permits. Do you require a study permit, work permit when you go to a place? Like example, I think for myself, I lived in Kenya for some time, and when I was living in Kenya, as a South African, I didn't need a work visa. My visa was sufficient. I think there are rules around that you would have to, at a certain point, exit the country and come back and then have your visa restart again. But at the end of the day, I need to know all those information, because you don't want to be found in the wrong side of law because you were ignorant. So yeah, look through that, figure out what is it that is required in a certain country, and that way you are covered. The third point is you want to create timelines. So you want to create timelines and be very realistic about your timelines with everything considered. So create a timeline for your move and when you would want to move. So if you are sitting here today and you're like, okay, by next year in January, I'd like to move to Austria or Germany or Czech Republic or wherever you'd want to move. What do I need? What do they require from like a work permit point of view? How long does that take? Do I have a house in South Africa or in Kenya or wherever you are watching and listening from? Do I have so if I have a property that is in my name, what do I plan to do with that? And this kind of planning takes a bit of time, so you want to really plan around that. Am I going to sell the property? Am I going to rent it out? How does that look like? What's the timeline for that? If I'm selling, how long does the selling and the legal part of it take? I know it takes time to actually sell the property. It's not like a plug and play. If I have a car, what am I doing with my car? what's the story there? Do I sell my car? Do I rent it out? Like, I don't know, do I give it away or whatever? Or do I actually, if I have a home, leave it at home? Like in my case, when I left the first time, I had my cars in Bolt. So my cars were both doing Bolt business. I've since closed that business and sold one car because the business was tricky, especially having people. I think the people managing part was the one that was difficult. It was very tricky for me. I don't want to lie. Yeah, Bolt drivers are hard to deal with. And adding a layer of being far away from home and them knowing that you are far just made it difficult for me. So I ended up having to sell the car and then gave the other one to my sisters. And yeah, pretty much like that's my story. So for me, when I was moving, it was easy because I was just like, okay, for this time period, I will have my cars driving, so they will be working and making me money, which was good. But also it was difficult in the end because the managing, I think if this is something you consider, you might want to like really just do a thorough research on how to do it the right way. You might want to find someone who's a manager who's in South Africa, but also you want to figure out if it actually makes financial sense, if you will be able to still make money in that kind of setting. So having that as something that you really think about will actually just help you make a realistic timeline for yourself. And I mean, beyond selling property, the fact that you're selling property means that you definitely need a place to stay. So you want to figure out as well where you're going. Are you planning on buying property? How does that look like? Are you going to just rent for the time being? Is like what's your story, and where do you arrive? Where do you get to? Like, where do you leave for the first month, or when you get to the place? Do you find accommodation while you are still in the country that you're living in? I don't know if this makes sense for anybody. That's not what I did myself. Actually, the company that I worked for at the time of my move offered corporate accommodation, so I was allowed to live there for 3 months. And in that 3 months, I was able to then look for accommodation where I can stay. And in my looking for accommodation, then I would be in a position to just like view and like, you know, I was at ease knowing that I have a space to stay for at least 3 months while I hunt for accommodation. So you want to consider that, you want to figure that out and set realistic timelines. I know there might be multiple reasons why you're deciding to move, but like, just don't rush it. Like, don't go crazy. And just also like allow yourself, just create like a buffer where you know that you're dealing with a lot of people. In the process of moving, you are dealing with a lot of officials. There's a lot of legal stuff that you have to deal with. There's a lot of like processing time for a whole lot of stuff. So you want to counter that in and make sure that it is accounted for, and you are also like thinking about that really thoroughly, because then it would be stressful for you. You would be stressed that why is this not happening? Why this immigration people just taking their time? Because best believe they take their time. They will frustrate you. They will take their time, because for them, they are not thinking about the fact that you are in a hurry to move. So think about that, create a buffer around that. And when you create a buffer around that, you will cut down a little bit of stress that you would potentially find yourself in, because you are in a hurry to actually move into another country. I mean, the thing is, you have a life. I don't want to say good because I don't know. You have a life ahead of you that you don't know of. So you can allow some time to actually just be in anticipation in the meantime. And good luck. The fourth pointer is financial budgeting. I know this might actually just like be something that people ignore, but it's very important. It is very important to know, firstly, the first part of the move, which is you need to pay for your flights, you need to pay for the accommodation. I don't know how you do it. You probably are gonna be getting Airbnb for like a month, which I recommend, beyond actually you getting a space that is yours for, I don't know, the time that you're planning to go. So beyond actually like just finding accommodation before you move, I definitely highly recommend just maybe getting an Airbnb for a month. So you want to counter for that. You want to count in so it's flights, it's accommodation, it's what you're gonna eat for that month, because chances you have not found your food, and for sure you would be in a position, if you're living at an Airbnb, you would be in a position to be able to cook for yourself. So no takeaways every day, because that is expensive, especially depending on where you are living. So you want to be able to be in a position where you cook for yourself. How much would that be? How much is how much is grocery in the country that you're moving to? And this speaks to the cost of living that we spoke about previously. If you know exactly how much you are gonna need to pay for things, for like your food, like groceries in general, your food, cleaning products and cosmetics, whatever, you would know exactly how much you need to plan on spending on. And then beyond that, you want to be in a position where if you are moving in and you don't really have a job, which I don't know if I recommend, because I don't know. You decide for yourself. I don't know if I recommend moving into another country without a job. I've never done it, so I don't know how painful it would be, but I would actually just speak against that. This is your auntie talking. You make your own decision, but if you listen to your auntie, you would know that you shouldn't do that. Yeah, maybe you can. Maybe you can. I don't want to talk you out of doing things. Maybe you do it and it works out. But just do some financial budgeting. Check how much things are where you're headed, and like in thorough manner. Check the property, like if you're from South Africa, you know the Property.24. Check an equivalent of Property.24 to check where you find like rental properties, how much that is, how much of deposit would you need to pay, how much of rent would you need to pay, does it include heating, does it include electricity, does it include internet, all those kind of stuff. Think about it, and then when you've thought about it, checked it out, create a sheet, like a spreadsheet of some sort, where you would be in a position to know and have a visual picture of the kind of expenses that you can look forward to. I hope this is helpful for you, and if it is helpful, please subscribe, because you can't be here until this time and you're not subscribed. Just as a request from my side. Please subscribe to my channel.